All right, welcome back here to the Real Ty Small, where we are getting into the hottest storylines and the nitty gritty of all things hoops. If you are new to the channel, if this is your first time seeing me, do not forget to hit that subscribe button, join the community. I'm dropping about a video a day, and also hit that like button as well. Wanted to talk today about a player that I think all of us as college basketball fans are extremely excited about, and that is none other than Mr. Darryn Peterson, who is headed into his freshman year with Kansas University. If you're looking at Darryn Peterson and you're looking at his game, very simple. If I can put it in a nutshell, high level shot creator and high level playmaker. And he is able to match those two offensive skill sets to a perfect degree. If we look at that particular archetype, it has a ridiculous amount of upside. And a lot of times players with this archetype, if they're able to realize their potential, end up becoming franchise level players. One guy I can compare that archetype to is Luka Doncic, where he is this amazing elite shot creator who can match that shot creation skill set with the ability to play make at a very high level. I'm not saying Darryn Peterson is as good as Luka Doncic, but I'm saying that particular archetype yields a high amount of upside. And again, if he's able to realize his potential, we are talking a future franchise level player. Love his skill set, and also love the things that he is committed to getting better at in his freshman year. One thing that we've also heard him talk about is getting better from a conditioning standpoint, so he can be a much more solid defensive player. And if he's able to put all of that together, I think he will skyrocket as the favorite to be drafted #1 overall over guys like Cameron Boozer and AJ DeBonta, who are also going to be amazing in their freshman seasons. He has some big shoes to fill, because Bill Self made a statement a while ago saying that Darryn Peterson is the best incoming freshman he has ever coached. That is over guys like Andrew Wiggins, who is obviously an NBA champion and did make an All-Star game, and also Joel Embiid, who we look at right now as one of the best big men in all of basketball and one of the most skilled centers we have ever seen play the game. That's who he's competing with, right? That's who Bill Self put him in the realm of. Now, to be fair, I do think Darryn Peterson is a more polished player than Andrew Wiggins and Joel Embiid coming into his freshman year. So the statement doesn't seem that crazy. But again, that is some extremely high praise and should give you a good idea of what we are dealing with Darryn Peterson's skill set and upside. One thing that I really loved about him from his high school career, especially his senior season, was that not only was he a really complete offensive player, but he went head to head with the other guys in his class that were looked at as the best in his class, and went head to head against them and outplayed them, right? So played AJ DeBonta, and in that game he put up 58 points. To be fair, DeBonta was amazing in that game too, putting up 49. But what I saw in that game was, again, this perfect blend of Peterson's shot creation ability matched with his playmaking. Of all the full game highlights, of all the footage that I've seen of Darryn Peterson, I think that game against DeBonta was the best display of his all-around offensive skill set. Also did it against Cameron Boozer and his brother Caden Boozer, right, who's a point guard. So there you're playing two McDonald's All-Americans. There you're playing two top 20 players in one game, and we still saw Peterson outplay those guys, dropping 33 points. So I loved him going head-to-head against the best players in his class, guys that are going to be competing with him for that #1 overall spot, and outplayed both of them. When I looked at that, it was kind of like, what else does he need to prove that he is the best player in that particular class? And what else does he need to prove that he's the #1 projected upcoming pick in the 2026 draft? Another thing to really like about Darryn Peterson in his freshman year is the fact that he's playing in the Big 12, which is one of the most competitive conferences in all of college basketball. We're still dealing with Houston. You're still dealing with Texas Tech. Arizona could be in the mix. Iowa State could be in the mix. BYU with AJ DeBonta is going to be in the mix. So him playing in a competitive conference in year one is going to give him a ton of experience, right? A ton of down the stretch big game experience, a ton of big time reps, and I think is going to just continue to polish and season him ahead of the NBA draft. And also too, we're going to see the conversation between him and AJ DeBonta as the #1 overall pick. We're going to see that shift a ton with those head-to-head matchups. Those two guys are going to play each other at least twice through the regular season, and maybe once in the Big 12 tournament. We're going to see a massive back and forth shift with that debate between between who should go number 1 overall between Devonta and Peterson with those head-to-head matchups between BYU and Kansas. And it's going to be extremely fun to see because a lot of times you don't see the top 2 prospects in the same conference. This is a dynamic we're going to get for the first time in a very, very long time. So we'll see what happens. I'm really excited to see what Peterson does through his freshman year. Again, I'm excited to see him and Devonta match up a ton throughout the regular season and maybe throughout the tournament. Again, I think that conversation between those two being the number 1 overall pick is going to shift massively with those head-to-head matchups. But I think it's going to be great. Again, just one of the most polished incoming freshmen we've seen in a long time. I think more polished than Cooper Flagg coming into his first year, right? I love Flagg, but there are some things in his game he wasn't really polished in. I think Peterson is a more polished offensive force than the last couple of number 1 overall draft picks we've gotten, at least on the collegiate level. So we'll see. Hopefully he can put everything together, and hopefully Kansas can put together an amazing year, and Peterson can continue to prove that he is the best player in this stacked upcoming 2026 NBA draft class.